Hello, and welcome back to the Brighter Podcast. My name is Chelsea.
My name's BatSheva.
And my life is definitely brighter thanks to BatSheva.
And my life is so much brighter thanks to Chelsea.
We love to come on here and share tools, stories, techniques, our own trials, triumphs, and tribulations in order to brighten the path, to brighten your day, to inspire, to uplift, to encourage anything that we can do for this brighter community. And today we're going to be finishing up our 3-part series on creating meaningful relationships and deepening existing ones. But before we dive deep into the question of how the body contributes and what role it plays in that, let's arrive in the space together by taking a few deep breaths. So if you're in a place where you can close down or soften your eyes, I encourage you to do so. And go ahead and letting all the air out. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And exhaling out the mouth. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Inhaling into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And exhaling out the mouth. Letting the shoulders soften. Last breath, deepest one, all the way in. And exhale, release. Welcome. So happy to have you all joining us today. And as we dive into this deeper, more meaningful relationship series, what does it mean what role does the body play in deepening and creating relationships? Is it just physical? Is it deeper than that?
I can share that for my childhood, teenage years, I guess early childhood, there was probably more synergy between my mind, body, and heart when I was really little, but then fragmentation occurred. And so throughout my early teen and teenage years, and then young adult, and then into my adult years, for the most part, in relationship to relationships with guys, my body played the role of seducer, and tool to create intimacy through sexual contact. And all this, even though I was shut down in a way due to traumatic events from childhood and actually never experienced an orgasm until I went through a lot of therapy and a lot of yoga and breathing and work and effort and attempts and failed attempts for I think about a year in my late 20s until I finally had that first actual orgasm, and then kind of the new beginning for me of being able to access and feel my whole body. And I was still just bringing it to relationships as a tool for sex and to create intimacy, and probably false intimacy, because I would just often rush into things. So much so that by the time I was engaged or met the guy I ended up marrying, we both agreed that we were going to wait to have sex, any sexual contact, until after marriage. So in my case, I swung that pendulum boom, all the way to the other side. And in a way, it was from an understanding that I needed to stop using my body in that way. But also, it really wasn't the solution, I have since found, because the solution only happened over the past decade for me, and I'm 53. Yay, finally got there, where there's a full integration of experience, feeling, everything talking to each other, all the chakras, my heart, my pussy, my mind. It's all talking to each other. And so now my body is a source of wisdom. That's what key does our body hold for us as far as allowing us to deepen existing relationships and or create meaningful, lasting ones? It's the wisdom that the body holds. And I could only access and hear and interpret as my intuition in the past decade, and especially in the past 5 years, and especially in the past 3 years since my marriage ended, and especially in the past 2 years, since Vipassana, and especially since the Mama Gina and the Layla Martin exercises, and just my own journey and commitment to broadening my relationship with my body has led me to better and better somatic experiences and knowing. Now, Chelsea, can you explain, what does it mean to have a somatic experience? What is somatic therapy, for example?
Well, for me, at least the somatic breathwork that I facilitate, Soma relates to the Greek term, or somatic. The base of it, Soma, comes from the Greek terminology meaning body, but it didn't just mean the physical body. It meant the emotional body, the spiritual body, the mental body, the beliefs, the patterns, everything, the emotions, everything that is held inside this vessel. And I did want to kind of touch base on what you had just mentioned, because also I think a big part of it is that this body is so intelligent and magnificent. And as you had stated, that it wasn't until recently they've actually been able to tap into certain things. And I believe that part of that is because the body's so smart that it wants to protect us. And it actually knows how to keep us safe, or it's implemented certain things based on past experiences or situations that have allowed us to survive them. And maybe it was something that happened when we were children, maybe teenagers, maybe young adult, maybe recently, whatever it is.
Maybe culturally,
culturally, religiously, it doesn't, a certain relationship, whatever it is. But we adapt and we learn and evolve, and our body kind of remembers that, I think. And based on whether or not we are able to process the experiences determines whether or not we're able to move on and kind of open up more in the body. And so for me, the somatic experiences, the somatic breathing, the somatic movement, the really tuning in to your body and coming into union with it, whether it be through movement, yoga, or like I said, breath work, pranayama, and accessing things that are inside of our body and really feeling everything. And there doesn't have to be a story that goes along with it. It can just be something that's wanting to move through the body and allowing that to come through. Allowing the cycle of the nervous system, of the trigger happening, then the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, and then coming back and starting again. There's something that happens, then the whole cycle happens, and then we end up in homeostasis, kind of back in a calmed setting, and not getting stuck in any of the phases of that.
And one thing I enjoyed about experiencing somatic therapy with a friend of mine who's a practitioner, I know this is my sister's chosen form of therapy. She goes to a somatic therapist for years and years and years, ever since she survived cancer over 10 years ago. And I had been to talk therapy, and it had really helped me in my 20s, but just deeply saved my life, or really turned my life around. So I give it all the props that the role in my life had at that point. But it almost wasn't until I discovered yoga during those therapy, and I'm sure there's no accident that it all happened at the same time, because I would come into therapy and I would really cry my eyeballs out. So there was a huge healing release that would happen almost 3 times a week, because I was going to say every week, but I went 3 times a week for a while. And then I would go into yoga and get that experience of the breath and the movement, and just so many things finally getting activated and beginning to work together. Cut to after my marriage, my friend offered to give me basically 10 somatic therapy sessions because she was getting certified. And I took her up on it. And somatic therapy is basically tuning into your body and feeling where you feel certain pressure. And then that dictates kind of where your mind will go and what you'll share. And I think there's a lot more to it than I'm not explaining correctly. But again, with this type of therapy, what I love about it more than just the straightforward talk therapy is it incorporates the body, because our body holds the key and it keeps the score, as this book that we mentioned over and over in the last episode that Chelsea is reading again and that I just finished. The Body Keeps the Score by Vander Kolk. What's his name? Bessel
Vessel.
Vander.
Yeah.
Besser Vandal Vander Kolk. We'll have it in the show notes. Yeah. And like to Chelsea's point, there's secrets held within our muscles and body that I definitely, when I went through intensive yoga, started to release in certain poses. I would start bawling my eyes out and crying, or during sexual exploration, pleasure exploration, breath work, like as Chelsea is a practitioner and has been certified in that. It's so connected, being able to release the emotion that got trapped when we experience trauma.
Well, even the John Sarno book about back pain, how much is that connecting our emotions and our experiences with pain that is stored in the body, chronic pain? And so really utilizing these different tools and therapies and techniques, if you will, to facilitate the movement of this energy, of this charge, of these emotions, of these experiences that our body is holding on to. And maybe sometimes it's our mind too, but it doesn't have to be. Just like you said in your somatic therapy sessions, it's really about paying attention to where you're feeling it in your body and just giving yourself permission to express whatever's coming up. Especially in the breathwork sessions that I facilitate, that is the goal. Always to give yourself permission to just feel whatever it is, because the reason why it's coming up is because you have created a safe enough space, a safe enough environment to feel that. You've gotten your nervous system and yourself to a point that your body says, okay, I'm going to let you feel this, instead of distracting yourself or numbing out or disassociating and going somewhere else or pushing feelings down, all the other things that we can do whenever big emotions arise. It's just, okay, this is coming up for me and it's safe to feel it, and I can just let it express itself in whatever form. If that's tears, if it's anger, if it's laughter, if it's pleasure, whatever it is, however it's wanting to come up and move through. And then essentially that's getting the charge out, getting the energy out of our bodies, and then our bodies can move on.
Oh, that's so interesting. I just was listening to the Untethered Soul book, Michael Singer, on Spotify, and he's talking about how our monkey mind, the brain chatter, happens because there's like a pulse of energy that needs to be released. And so we'll release it in the form of thoughts that are speaking, or so that just reminded me of that. But back to the topic at hand, allowing that pulse to be released physically and through breath, through emotion. How does that deepen a relationship?
Well, I think for me personally, and how it's been showing up in my life, is that allowing myself to feel deeper and to feel things that haven't been accessible before creates a deeper connection, if that makes sense. It's that
like you have more to give within the relationship because you're
more to
accessing
give
more,
and more to like there's more trust because I feel safe enough to be myself and to express in whatever way is coming up, and also to hold boundaries and to speak up my truth in moments, especially in moments of discomfort, where in the past, maybe I conformed to what I thought was wanted or acceptable or whatever it took to stay in the circle, in the community, in the family, whatever group it was, or to be loved.
I agree with you. I feel like the more in touch with my body I've become, the more comfortable I am automatically speaking and expressing my deepest truths, even and especially during those difficult or awkward conversations, either with a child or a loved one or a friend, that I can easily see in the past. I couldn't have even had access to that knowledge, let alone spoken it aloud at the right time, or the right time meaning not held it in. And also feeling that inner resilience growing, that when things are said or done in front of me or said to me that rattle me, that work that I did with my own body also created a resilience of character almost.
And it's also, for me, really deepened or strengthened, I guess is the word, strengthened my own voice. That before, whenever a situation would come up and it's like, oh, what do I want to do? Like, what choice do I want to make? Do I want to make these people happy? Like, I want to say yes because I want to make these people happy and because I know that it's helpful and because it sounds like fun. And I want to say no because I'm tired and I don't really have that much time and this is really going to be pressing me. And really actually hearing those two different sides. One side was definitely quieter for a long time. And it's really been through the exercises, through the practicing, through the listening. You know, it's like the gut instinct. You know, or whenever your hair stands up on ends on your arms and you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right. But then maybe you did it anyways, or I did it anyways. And then, but now it just feels that the deeper I get in relationship with my body and I'm able to really understand how it communicates to me, the more of an impact it's made on my relationships and being able to have the right boundaries for me and it be from the right place. I guess it's kind of like having all the right things.
It's funny because I can acknowledge with this relationship that I had over the 5 months in 2025, and it was the first intimate relationship I'd had since my marriage ended in the beginning of 2022. I know that in the end, in the beginning, actually, I was really eager to have a relationship with a guy, an intimate relationship, because I finally felt like the 3 years of work I'd been doing, connecting so deeply to myself over those 3 years after my marriage, which included pleasure sessions. It included such a deep integration with my own body and heart and mind that I was like wanting to bring it now into a relationship. And when I first
it's like
met
testing it out for the big game.
Literally.
You've like been practicing. You're like, all right, finally the big game.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was looking for exactly that environment to test it out. And I did find kind of like the criteria of person I felt I was attracted to and I could trust and we had fun together. And I almost by the second or third date, let's say, I pretty much knew that, oh, this is probably going to be the guy I'm going to lose my post-marriage virginity to. Like, oh, I hope my kids aren't listening. But yes, I like had that thought because I was excited to bring my body, into to test drive it. And I had only an amazing positive experience from beginning, middle to end on that score, physically with him, intimacy. I learned a lot more about myself sexually than I had ever been able to because I was healed. I was like healed so much more than before. I think possibly and probably it's a lifelong process, but the extent to which I've already healed is enormous. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I was able to have this particular experience. But I will say that because I was so eager to test drive that aspect out, I wasn't thinking or aware or desiring of some other parts of the equation of a relationship that are important to me. And basically, I've talked about it before, just the part of me that slips into a more codependent role where I just want to subvert. I don't want to, but I just start to subvert my own desires in relationship to like amplifying what are his and who is he and how does he want to live and how does he see us. And this was a big fucking mistake that I made during my marriage. And I just felt the little teeny tiny little tendrils of that starting to grow again during that last relationship. And I'm really crediting the fact that I was so in tune somatically with my body and feeling that even with all the pleasure in that experience that I had, I was gifted in that relationship. When I saw very clearly that there was major red flags, like danger, if you're going to go further and go deeper with this person, it's going to get fucking chaotic and bumpy. I stopped the relationship and it was not easy and it has not been easy. And I'm using it as an opportunity and a jumping off point to be like, wow, like what 12-step program can I go to? What therapy? And I'm going to start EMDR, rapid eye movement therapy, starting today. I'm starting it because I'm having a hard time expressing, but basically because the body told me a lot of information that I didn't have before. And now I'm bringing it to the surface and I'm looking to heal yet another layer, let's say, of things that got stuck in certain patterns and behaviors and habits that are blocking me from having the kind of deep relationship that I crave and desire. And I haven't had yet, in a way. I don't think so, because it's been too unbalanced. I've been too much always the subservient codependent in my long-term relationships. And I'm very strong-willed. So there's a weird back and forth. But yeah,
I think
so
maybe that's the pendulum swinging.
the pendulum, yeah.
The pendulum swinging really far and wide for those times.
Yeah, so like TBC, to be continued.
Yes, we're coming
yeah.
back with all the EMDR info.
Right? Yeah, that too. Yeah. And just seeing how I will be able to deepen future relationships, informed by this journey, because I don't know, we'll see what's next. But I have like high hopes that each one, better and better.
Yeah. So more to come on other tools and techniques that we are trying out for you. We are investigating all of these
We are.
for you.
We're saying yes to it all.
We're doing it for us. Then you are getting to benefit from also our lived experiences.
Correct.
That's our goal anyways.
If it resonates with you, then you can try it, etc.
Yeah. Is there anything else? I really feel like that was a good bookend to everything that we've kind of said. I think that I've really touched on how my relationship is building with my body. And we are trusting each other and working together more and more every day.
Yeah. And I will say, as your witness, I've witnessed your intimate relationship with your husband deepen times a billion as you've deepened your relationship with your own body. Wow. Just the authenticity and the realness, and also the deepening of loving each other and yourself for who you really are. It's beautiful, even when there's it's not like a perfect, nothing. You're still human, and that's very reassuring. But it's been beautiful to watch.
But that is life,
Yeah.
It's wild and messy and beautiful and everything. It's all of it. And being able to experience all of it and have capacity to hold and to feel is really, to me, that's what being human is. It's feeling. And so many people, and I will say that there are still parts of me that sometimes feel numb. And I've done things in the past to really try and bring feeling to those areas. And in the past 12, 14 years, I guess, it's really been a shift on what those things are and how I involve them in my life in order to bring more awareness and aliveness back into all parts of my body, into all parts of my being. So thank you for witnessing.
Got it.
All right, so we will close off, as we always do, with our most wonderful tool, the Daily W. And I will give you one win, which my win is that I had an amazing meetup with a friend/client for tea this morning. And it was so beautiful to connect and to share both of our journeys together, and to upride and uplift and encourage each other and feel supported. Wow, amazing. And my wow, I'm really grateful for BatSheva, because through our deep relationship and openness and vulnerability, I feel stronger. I feel that I can show up and be every version, every emotion, and I can be held and witnessed and supported and seen. And as much as I love my husband, and he definitely is amazing at this as well, having a sister that you can really be so connected with is a gift that's almost unable to be described in words.
So agree. So with you. Thank you. And I receive that and reflect it right back to you, baby. Yes. Amazing. I will share my wish. And my wish is going to be specifically for today's session, my first of 6 sessions of EMDR And I think mentioned that it's mostly going to be the first 2 sessions are more sort of introduction to the technique. So I don't know how deep it's going to go. But as I've shared with Chelsea offline, it's so interesting unconsciously, and now it's conscious because I understand what's happening. I've been beginning to be much more raw over the past couple of days, just emotionally raw and vulnerable. And I know that it's my energetic self beginning to open up before I get to this session in order to maximize like what it can do to release whatever's ready to be released. So that's a very interesting process. And I'm just really wishing for the 6 sessions and today's sessions to accomplish the very most highest, best possible outcome for me and for the world.
Yes, it is done. It is done. It is done. Something bigger, better, hotter, wetter than your wildest dreams.
Woohoo!
Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that your day is brighter thanks to this 3-part series, that your relationships are more meaningful, that they are deeper, that they're more connecting, and that you brighter bees out there continue to pollinate your little community and your section of the world with all the positivity and all the uplifting and encouragement and brightness that your unique being brings.
And if that means sharing this podcast with someone else to brighten their day, please do so. It helps us immensely. Of course, like and subscribe as well. And we appreciate you so very much.
Visit our new website to join our newsletter so that you'll know exactly what's going on and what events we have coming up at www.brighterandbrighter.life.
Yay.
All right. Bye.
Until next time, we love you.